Welcome to Fright Night.
Fright Night's self-referential blend of comedy and horror was unique for the time. While it's a recognized cult favorite, its lesser-known sequel, Fright Night Part 2, released in 1988, didn't come close to the success of the first movie. The sequel was directed by John Carpenter's frequent collaborator, Lee Wallace. While considered pretty bad by some, I enjoy it, and if I'm completely honest, I watch it more often than the first movie. My brother and I had a copy of this movie on beta cassette tape. Looking back, I find it kind of funny that we had this erotic vampire movie in our random movie collection. I remember getting shivers just putting the cassette tape into the player and hitting play. It's pretty tame by today's standards, but at the time this movie for me had almost a taboo around it. Fright Night Part 2 is set 3 years after the first movie. Charlie Brewster is a fan of the horror TV show Fright Night, hosted by the eccentric actor Peter Vincent, who is known for his vampire hunter movies. Charlie and his girlfriend Kate are faced with a new threat when a mysterious performance artist, Regine Dandridge, and her creepy friends take up residency in Peter Vincent's apartment building. Did vampires just move in next door again, or is this all in Charlie's head? Charlie Brewster and Peter Vincent for me have a similar dynamic as Marty McFly and the Doc in Back to the Future. Peter Vincent, as kind of a misfit and outsider, shows Charlie that becoming an adult doesn't mean you have to give up your childhood fantasy world. Hell, Peter has made a career out of indulging his childlike love of the supernatural. It's what keeps him young at heart. Julie Carmen gives a standout performance as the seductive femme fatale Regine. She is darkly alluring and captivating and almost makes you want Charlie to succumb to her temptations. Julie Carmen just captures what we love about vampires. She brings an irresistible charm to the role, a deadly fascination and predatory sensuality, instilling both fear and desire with just the right amount of coyness. There's one scene in particular that just fascinated me, yet also horrified me as a kid. It's when Charlie climbs up a fire escape opposite Regine's apartment and sees her and another vampire named Belle drain his friend Richie's blood. Charlie here looks more turned on than frightened. I identified with Charlie, who mirrored my own sense of watching something that I shouldn't, yet at the same time, I couldn't take my eyes away from it. The vampire Belle is played by the celebrated choreographer Russell Clark, who also makes a pretty terrifying vampire. Honestly, when I first watched the movie, I couldn't tell at first whether his character was a man or a woman. I think they wanted to make him androgynous, which adds another layer to the vampire characters, who become almost protean sexual creatures. Even Regine takes on a more masculine dominant role in her seduction of the more passive, submissive Charlie, disrupting his healthy, normal relationship with his girlfriend, Kate. One thing I love about the Fright Night series is how it celebrates horror fan culture. It has this ironic self-referential quality, the kind of 80s movie about pop culture geeks, nerds, and misfits that the show Stranger Things takes inspiration from. Charlie is a horror film geek whose fanboy fantasy world becomes a reality. Yes, vampires walk the earth and nobody is better qualified to fight them than a horror fan who knows his vampire lore and has watched enough scary movies to know how to vanquish a blood-sucking fiend. The 2011 remake shares this geeky sensibility. Galaxy Quest is another example of a film that acknowledges its fan base by having geeky fanboy characters in the movie, even featuring a fan convention in a scene where every fan's dream hilariously becomes a reality. I love these types of movies because they take me back to what it feels like to be a kid again, those carefree days when you could just dream, geek out, and let your imagination roam wherever it wanted to. I mean, I still do that, but there's something about being a kid where you have your entire future ahead of you that just gets me nostalgic. Fright Night Part 2 and the franchise's legacy as a whole is clouded by the chilling, unsavory backstory associated with the film's compromised release and distribution. The sequel wasn't a financial success, and the franchise wasn't able to move forward, which was partly due to its connection with a real-life murder case. The film was poorly distributed by New Century Vista. Actor Roddy McDowall and director Wallace made a big fuss about it to the distribution head, Jose Menendez. McDowall had also set up a meeting with Menendez to discuss a potential third movie. Fright Night creator Tom Holland was also supposed to attend this meeting, who would be returning to direct the sequel. No, not that Tom Holland, unless he teleported back to the 80s and made a horror movie. That meeting never took place. Shortly after Fright Night 2's release, Menendez and his wife were murdered by their sons. This shocking incident ruined any chance of a sequel and put the franchise on indefinite hiatus until the 2011 remake. However, Tom Holland did announce in 2020 that he is writing a direct sequel to his first movie, ignoring the second movie. Holland plans to bring back most of the original cast, including Jerry Dandridge, so we may see Chris Sarandon put on his vampire teeth again very soon. It's sad that we won't see Roddy McDowall, who passed away in 1998, return as Peter Vincent. I thought David Tennant made a great Peter Vincent in the 2011 remake, so maybe the new sequel could bring him back in some way, maybe as a friend or relative of the original Peter Vincent. Fright Night Part 2 is definitely a guilty pleasure movie for me. It's the kind of seductive, campy, fun movie that makes it a perfect midnight feature. Whenever I watch it, it takes me back to a simpler time when watching an R-rated horror movie as a kid was a rite of passage. It holds a special place as one of those films that used to keep me up at night. Anyway, I want to take a moment to thank everyone for watching and to thank those of you who have continued to watch my channel. It means a lot and I really appreciate it. I have a lot of fun making these videos, so if you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and I will look forward to seeing you all in the next video.